Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we're looking at the headliner kit for the Jaguar E-Type fixed head coupe models. Now the fixed head coupe models incorporates two variants. You've got the two-seater fixed head coupe and then you've got the four-seater fixed head coupe, which we refer to as the 2+2. This kit has been made generic for both versions of the E-Types. Even though the 2+2 is a longer wheelbase car, we've just altered the kit to make it standardly generic for both versions of those cars there. And what the headliner kit includes is the main section here for the actual main roof lining. Then you get a pair of these L-shaped pieces here which go just above the cant rail, down the left and right edges and runs to the back of the car there. And then you had this piece here which is for the header rail panel at the very front of the car. You also, in addition to that, got two squares or rectangles of material for recovering your sun visors. So that's what we provide in the headliner kit. In addition to that, you may wish to consider sun visors, which we can offer either untrimmed or fully trimmed up with or without a mirror. So bear that in mind. But that is an optional extra outside the headliner kits. Basically, we'd use those rectangles, some moulded sun visor units, and we trim them up for you. So I will be touching on all of these things here. It is worth noting I have done some other videos detailing the headliner kits and the different sun visor options, so do be sure to check those out. Some of those videos will be listed at the end of this video, so be sure to check those out there. Now, it's worth noting the headliner kit, including the materials for the sun visors, is included as standard in our trim kit. The trim kit is something that we offer for anyone that's looking to do basically a ground-up restoration and they want to replace everything in their car. And if you buy it as a trim kit, it works out significantly cheaper than buying all of the individual parts of that trim kit separately, if you follow. However, the sun visors, either trimmed or untrimmed, are always sold separately. They are an optional extra outside the scope of the trim kit, so do bear that in mind. Right, let's dive on in. So, originally, from the factory, the majority of the E-Types fixed heads, they left with a wool cloth headliner material, West of England wool cloth, very high quality material, and it was normally available in a beige, green or grey, as detailed in the colours that I have laid out here. So you've got beige, green and grey there. Obviously, just to completely clarify, I haven't laid the green or the grey elements of all the other pieces out. It's just the main body, but obviously they would match throughout. So you're either having green everywhere, grey everywhere, or beige everywhere. Generally speaking, there was a bit of a rule of thumb about what colours went with what interiors, which I'm more than happy to go over with you at the point of discussing your requirements. So do bear that in mind. There was generally a rule of thumb with what colours ended up with what headliners, so keep that in mind. Whilst the majority of the kits left the factory in a wool cloth material, towards the end of the production run, it seemed like they changed to a Brush Nylon headliner material, which is a much cheaper material. We can, of course, offer that. However, we do not recommend it. We'd always say stick with the wool cloth material. It's far superior in look, quality, finish, durability, and also it's a bit easier to fit due to what I'm about to come on to with the main section there. So bear that in mind. We can offer the Brush Nylon version, but we do recommend sticking with the wool cloth version. And just to put it in perspective, I probably sold one Brush Nylon kit in about 10 years, whereas these sell like hotcakes. We sell multiples of these each month, so bear that in mind. It's also worth noting that the E-Type, some of them left with a Webasto sunroof or a sunroof, a generic sunroof. So if your car has that, do talk to us about it, because this kit isn't fully suitable for that. You need extra material for the Webasto sunroof or a sunroof element of those. So do bear that in mind. And of course, I will be planning to do a video detailing the Webasto sunroof version of the kit in due course when we get an order for them. They're not particularly commonly seen, quite rare, so haven't had an order for a while. So when I next do, I will of course do a video for it. But let's dive on into the actual kit itself. So let's refer to a book first. We're obviously talking about the inner roof section for these cars here. So obviously you've got this main section here. That's probably the best picture. And then you had these L's which went down above the cant rail and round the back there. So you can just see it going just above the cant rail there. And it went all the way down the left and right edges and it met at the back in the middle. I've lost that page there. There we go. So round that corner there and at the back in the middle there. So obviously they are the L sections there. They get this rubber tubing sewn into them, which creates that sort of beading effect down the left and right edges above the cant rails. Then you had this section here, which is the strip for the header rail panel, which is this bit that went above the windscreen, left to right on the car, where the sun visor is kind of located into there. So that's that piece there. And then you obviously had the main section here, which is for the actual main roof lining section. Now, this is the piece de resistance, shall we say, for our kits over the majority of the kits in the industry. Originally from the factory with wool cloth ones, they were a wool cloth, and then you would have a separate piece of around 3 or 4 mil foam padding, and you would have to glue them up separately. And very laborious, very hard work, very hard for you to avoid blotching of glue coming through the wool cloth material. So for many years now, we have offered this foam backed or pre-laminated wool cloth material, and it's on a smooth foam as well, which makes the process of gluing that main section so much easier, because you're using a or you should be using a contact adhesive paste on for the headliner. It's not a particularly easy job because obviously you're working against gravity. So having this pre-bonded foam on the headliner already makes it so much easier to trim. It's still not a particularly easy job, but it does make it significantly easier. Otherwise you are gluing up the material twice. Like I say, you're going to get this blotchiness coming through with the excess of glue, whereas this foam really does allow for the glue to spread nice and easily throughout the course of the whole roof lining area. So that's what we offer as standard with our kits. So that main section always comes on the pre-bonded, pre-laminated foam backing to it. The header rail, the sun visor material, and these side pieces are the unbacked version. They do not have the foam backing on them. Just bear that in mind there. So that is by far and away the most logical way of doing these kits, because it makes the workload so much easier than it normally traditionally would be, but you're still getting the same premium wool cloth results on there. So that's what puts us easily apart for our kits in the industry above other kits out there where they offer the standard wool cloth and then a separate piece of foam padding, so you have to do the job twice. Then obviously with the headliner kit, you also get these rectangles of material to retrim your original sun visors, the sun visors being these units here, obviously. Now, that's the headliner kit. Like I say, all of those pieces there are the headliner kit, and they are supplied as standard in our trim kits. Moving on to the sun visors. You got sun visors, untrimmed or trimmed, obviously in the wool cloth material, with or without a mirror. Generally speaking, the majority of them left without a mirror. So as per this set here, we don't have a mirror on the passenger side. However, records do show that some of the cars had mirrors on the passenger side. Obviously, I've laid out a right-hand drive and a left-hand drive there in trimmed and untrimmed versions, just so you can see what they're like there. Generally speaking, from our records, it indicates that some of the very last Series 3s had mirrors and some of the very early Series 1s also had mirrors. But we're struggling to find, should we say, the chassis number range where they actually change these things. So we always just ask the question, do you want a mirror or don't you want a mirror? So yeah, obviously the principle of them is exactly the same. They're a moulded plastic. They have the tubing in there, which allows the sun visor rod to go through. This is obviously an untrimmed set here. And then you have an allowance for the mirror or not a mirror. Now, it's worth noting that the blanks for the non-mirror versions do not have that recess in them, so you're not going to have this recess sticking down. Basically, they are completely separate blanks to allow for the recess, so do bear that in mind there. But yeah, that's basically the options you have there. Obviously, this is a right-hand drive set, so it's a mirror on the passenger side, but they're wool cloth, they're trimmed all the way around, hand stitched. Got the allowance there obviously for the rod to go through, and so they are sold as an optional extra outside the scope of both the headliner kit and the trim kit there. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. So just to go over the basics again, headliner kit includes the main section there, which we offer as standard on pre-bonded wool cloth. You have the L sections for above the cant rail meeting round at the back. You have the loose strip at the front there for the head rail panel, and you get some loose materials for retrimming your original sun visors. That's the headliner as it's normally supplied, and that's how it's supplied in the trim kit package as well. Optional extras, sun visors fully trimmed up, or just the raw blanks, molded plastic with or without a mirror there. So hopefully you found that useful. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to other classic car enthusiasts. Of course, if you have an inquiry for your E-Type two-seater fixed head or 2+2 model, do let us know. More than happy to help. Sure to check out the videos at the end of this one, as well as all the other videos on my YouTube channel. And of course, if you click that subscribe button, you'll get notified on my next upload. I'll see you next time. Thank you.